Hey foodie friends, welcome back to Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. Today, we're diving into the wonderful world of mouth-watering ribs, and we're gonna have a finger-licking good time. We're about to get those taste buds tingling with my delicious Filipino-inspired pork adobo spare ribs. Now let's get saucy. This started yesterday with a marinade, so let me show you how that's done.
Place the rack of ribs in a large zip-top bag or suitable container for marinating. Combine equal parts white vinegar and soy sauce with granulated garlic, brown sugar, and cracked black pepper. Whisk those together to dissolve the sugar, and then stir in some bay leaves. Pour the marinade over the ribs in the bag. Then seal the bag, making sure to squeeze out as much air as possible. Smush the ribs around so they're well coated in the marinade. Now, place the bag on a large plate or pan just in case anything leaks out. We will marinate the ribs in the fridge overnight, flipping them once to make sure both sides spend some time in the marinade.
These ribs don't stand a chance against my cooking skills. So, we will remove them from the marinade. Let that drain off a little bit. Place them on a baking sheet with a rack and a little water in the bottom so things can get steamy.
Now, we'll cover the ribs tightly with a layer of plastic wrap and then a layer of aluminum foil. We will bake them at 375 for about 3 hours until the meat starts to pull back from the bones.
Meanwhile, we'll add the marinade to a small sauce pot along with a little bit more brown sugar, and we're going to bring that to a boil on the stovetop, and then we're going to thicken it up with a cornstarch slurry. So we want it to be like the consistency of barbecue sauce.
Now, bring this mixture to a boil and watch it constantly, as that soy sauce will bubble up quite a lot and can boil over very easily. Once that comes to a nice rolling boil, remove the bay leaves and whisk in the cornstarch slurry. Let that bubble a little. See how thick and glossy it is? It coats the back of a spoon nicely. After you have cooked the ribs for about 3 hours, take them out of the oven and carefully remove the aluminum foil and plastic wrap, being sure not to get burned by the steam. Now, bump up the temperature of the oven to 425 degrees. See how the meat has started to pull back from the bones a bit? Okay, now we're going to paint a nice layer of that thickened sauce on the ribs. Make sure to get a good coating all over the ribs on the sides and well coated on the top. Then we will place the ribs back in the oven for 15 minutes, and we will repeat this process a second time. This is after our first time. Look at that beautiful mahogany color they're already getting. So again, paint them again, and they'll go back in for another 15 minutes. If you prefer, after that second 15 minutes, you can put the broiler on to get them nice and charred, but I like the way they turned out just by doing this. Once the ribs are out of the oven, tent them loosely with a piece of aluminum foil and let them rest for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Alright guys, so our ribs just came out of the oven. We let them rest for 10 minutes under a loose tint of aluminum foil, and they look amazing. I'm telling you, these are going to be so good. So I'm going to cut them apart into rib sections, and then we're going to gloss them up with a little bit more sauce, plate them up, and give them a try. They're so tender, they're cutting so nicely. Now, they're spare ribs, so they do have that extra bone in there, so there is going to be a bit at the end that might be a little harder to cut. I love a spare rib, and they're typically cheaper than the other ribs. But these are so tender, they're like just cutting like butter. And that beautiful mahogany from the glaze that's baked on there, it looks so good. So they're cut, and I'm just going to brush a little extra sauce on each one, especially on that cut side, and put that on the plate. Look at that, how tender that is. Just brushing a little bit of this sauce right on the cut side of the rib. A little bit on top too. And then I'll serve the extra sauce on the side for dipping. Dinner tonight is gonna be amazing. Look at this, you guys. Look at those ribs. How good did those look? Oh, so I'm just gonna add a little color with some beautiful green onions. Just a little freshness and oops, a little freshness and a little color there. Well, there you have it, guys. My Filipino Adobo inspired pork spare ribs. They're sticky, they're delicious, they're tangy from that vinegar and soy sauce. Oh my god. They're so tender. And that overnight marinade, so much flavor in there. You guys have to make these. You are absolutely gonna love them, I promise you. I don't know how to do a TV bite either. Guys, if you make these, let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for joining me again on Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. Please give me a like, hit that subscribe button, and check the box below for a link to the full written recipe. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you next time.